y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Test2Mony podcast. Today we are interviewing somebody who's very amazing. Somebody, when I first came into our church, she was very welcoming, very open. She was excited to see young people. Definitely ended up connecting. We'll talk a little bit about that today, about her story, about how we met and things like that. But I'm just excited to interview this amazing young lady. She has a powerful testimony, and I just pray that at the end of it, you'll be encouraged, you'll be inspired. Know she got something to say. All right, and without further ado, this is my sister Breyanna Fields.
Hello. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to be able to finally get to sit down and talk with you. So many different things I wanted to discuss, just to know about your story, about your testimony. I think we met about like 2017. Maybe?
Yes, maybe, or 2016.
16, might have been around that. 16 it might have been. A lot was going on around that time. I know our church was growing districtly, and I know you and your family were much a part of that. So I wanted to just, go dive right in and really just know about your story. Did you grow up here? Where did you grow up? Where did your family grow up?
Well, I'm originally from Florida. I know a lot of people think I'm from Statesboro.
Okay.
But I'm originally from Fort Pierce, Florida. I came here, I think we moved here at the end of 2004. And we visited a lot of churches.
Okay.
We came into Bibleway the year of 2014. It was towards the end of 2014.
Okay.
A lady that my grandma knew, she came and she tried to find my grandma because she heard of Apostle.
Okay.
And my grandma wasn't home at the time, and she said she was going to wait until my grandmother came home, and it was late at night. And she stayed there the whole while in front of my grandmother's house. I don't know how she got to find out where she lived, but somehow somebody led her, somebody knew my grandma, and they told her, hey, this is where she stayed. Mm-hmm. And so she told my grandmother, my grandmother is Betty Anderson. Okay. She told her about Apostle C.A. Cowler, and she said, you need to go hear that man. She was like, I know you will love it. She was like, he's in revival in Savannah, Georgia, and she was like, I think you should go. So my grandma, she went, and that was the start. That was the start of us being a part of Bibleway. Yeah. We started in Savannah, Georgia, when he opened up the church in Savannah. That was the first church he opened up. And the rest is history. We've been here for now, I think it's been 11 years. Okay. We've been a part of Bibleway for 11 years. So,
That's what's up. That's amazing. So, did y'all, when y'all were in Fort Pierce, did y'all, was already going to church and stuff?
Oh, yes. I'm a church girl to the T. Yeah. I mean, my grandmother, she had us in church for, one of my cousins said she had us in church for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So definitely, I grew up in church. We was Pentecostal, so I grew up in church. I think it was Church of God in Christ, Holiness unto the Lord. Right. So yes, I'm a church girl to the T. Yes.
Okay, got you. So let me ask you this. Well, how old are you?
I'm 28.
So 28. Okay. So in 2025, there's a lot of people, especially around our age group, that don't really either go to church or they have questions about God and stuff like that. What kind of keeps you going even at this age that you're in now?
God.
Yeah, okay.
God, I think too, because growing up, I seen a lot, with different things with my family, close ones, my mother, her story of what she went through before she was in the church. I always been different, and then plus my grandmother raised me, gotcha. So I didn't see the tap dancing Betty. Okay. I seen Mother Betty.
Gotcha. Okay.
So she really mostly I stayed with her mostly really all my life until I graduated. Okay. So I think she definitely instilled in me, for me to be able to, keep this lifestyle, or go into this lifestyle of we want to be saved.
Right.
And then watching her, growing up, is kind of like, I'm glad I was around her because, it kind of blocked out all the things that's going around in the world.
Absolutely.
Or just allowing me to enter and dib and dab in different things, in the world. So, that, and then again, I just didn't want to.
Right.
I didn't want to be in the world.
Right.
I want to live. I want to live for God.
Okay.
So I think that mindset, keeping that mindset that I really truly want this, and I want to be real with Him and genuine. That's what's really keeping me. Yes,
Absolutely.
in the Word, of course.
I got you. I got you. So one of my questions for you, I remember a long time ago, like 2016, 17, and you were having some issues and things like that in your body and stuff. So I really want you to talk about that, because I remember it was a time where y'all were traveling back and forth. We were going together, and a little bit how we got together was, I remember when I didn't have a way. I first got sent out to Jessup. I didn't have no way to go, and I remember you and your mom and your grandmother, y'all was we would all ride up to Jessup,
right.
And things like that. So I had a chance to kind of be pastor, but also kind of minister and be a brother, and we kind of got close in that. So talk a little bit about that, like that transition, because I do want to get about your testimony when it comes to when you were in that situation. What was going on during that time?
So really, it started in 2015, honestly.
Okay.
I was with my mom, who was sitting in the house, and I was having real bad, stomach cramps and things like that, and I went to the restroom or the bathroom. I guess at home, you say the bathroom.
Right.
So I went to the bathroom, and I started seeing unusual symptoms, and so I went to my mom. At that time, I was bleeding. I was bleeding out, and I was kind of scared, because I'm thinking, well, maybe it's just something that women go through every month or whatever. But it was more than that. So I went to my mom, and at that time I was kind of getting lightheaded, and I was trying to explain to her what was going on. And then she was like, what's wrong, Bree? And I was, kind of blinking out, and I started, pouring water all over me, because I was just like, I don't know. And I was telling her, something is really going on. And she was like, well, you want to go to the hospital? And I was like, no, we real stubborn when it's time to go to the hospital. We don't want to go to the hospital at all. So I was like, no, I'll just wait it out. I kind of just see what it's going to do. And I eventually went to the hospital months later, like the end of the year later. And they discovered that I had ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis is something similar to Crohn's, except it deals with your large intestines.
Right.
When they discovered that, they put me on medicine, and then eventually I stopped taking the medicine.
Gotcha.
But I told Apostle about it, and he prayed for me, and I didn't see any symptoms from 2015 up until 2018.
Gotcha.
Well, probably the end of 2017.
Okay.
I started seeing symptoms again, and certain symptoms of ulcerative colitis you have, kind of like, real bad stomach cramps, you have bloody stools, you have, it's different things. It's a lot of different symptoms you can have. Something similar to Crohn's disease. I know Crohn's disease is really noted, out there. So, I went to the hospital, and they said that, I had ulcerative colitis. And then, I told Apostle about it, and then he prayed for me. I didn't see no symptoms up until the end of 2017. And then when I started seeing those symptoms, I mentioned it to my mom again, but she was like, well, maybe you should go get it checked out, go to the hospital. And I was just like, no, I don't want to go. I said, it'll probably go away, because that's what it did last time. I was like, it'll go away. But it didn't go away. It got worse. Yeah. But I didn't tell her about it.
Right.
And during those times, apostles had them going traveling. Like you said, I was always with them.
Right.
And when Waycross came, I started actually working at East Georgia Medical Center, the hospital there. And I was at work in I think that was the beginning of 2018. I was at work, and I kept feeling cramps in my stomach, and my coworker, she was like, she kept watching me. She was like, Breyanna, you okay? And I was just like, I was like, yeah, I'm all right. I think I'm all right. She was like, because I've been watching you been kind of, holding your stomach a little bit, you've been rubbing on your stomach. She was like, I just want to make sure you're all right. I was like, yeah, I think I'm just dealing with little cramps. It's nothing. But I knew what it was. Right. And so I went home that day, and that was my last day at work. Yeah. And I went to the hospital, I think a week or so after that, to get things checked out, whatever. I'm gonna backtrack on my now husband. Okay. He wasn't my husband then. Okay. We was friends. He came to see me one particular day, and the weight cross revival was going on, and I knew things was getting bad. Right. It was getting bad to the point where I started having shortness of breath. I was getting very weak in my body. I was feeling like I was up out of here. So I told him, I asked him, I said, do you want to go Waycross? And he was like, yeah, we can go. So he took me to Waycross. I had to get there because my mom then was there, and I wanted to be where they was. Exactly. And so I got there, and Overseer Johnson was preaching at the time, which is my pastor. He was preaching at the time, and when I got there, I didn't know if I was gonna make it the next day. Right. So he prayed for me, and he told me that it was more of a spiritual attack. It was kind of like like I was this sickness was put on me more for a spiritual reason. Right. So I went throughout that, through the revival, whatever, and I stayed with my mom them that night in Jessup. Yeah. And then I went to Savannah Memorial in Savannah early that morning because I was having real bad migraines, like a migraine that I never had, that I can't explain, out of this world. It was so bad. So I woke them up like early in the morning. So we finally went to the hospital, and they told me it was really bad. Wow. And they said, good thing you came, because I don't know, you probably would have never made it if you would have stayed home. Wow. So when I got to the Memorial, I stayed there for about I think maybe 2 weeks, and that's when you and Pastor Elder Strong, Pastor Tillman, and also Elder Nick. Right. He came and seen me, and during that time, I thought I was gonna be up out of there. They was like, hey, your vitals and stuff, they're looking okay. Things, it's trying. Mm-hmm. So one doctor came in, and he was like, you were very, very, very sick. Oh, wow. And he was like, you're gonna be in here for a while. He was like, so you might well go ahead and get comfortable. So I was like, no, I'm like getting scared, I'm getting nervous. So I was like, okay. So then shortly after that, another doctor came in, and they released me. Mm-hmm. They released me. They told me I can leave today, and I was just shocked because one of them just left. Even after they said that, and it was shocking to me. Like I said, my now husband, he was there, and we was both looking like, this is crazy. So my mom then was like, well, Bree, they just said, you gonna be in there for a while. So I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't know. It's a different doctor. He, he told me, they was gonna release me today. So I was like, okay. So I left, went home, and when I went home that next day, I was back into the hospital here in Statesboro. Wow. And before that, I didn't never bother Apostle about it. I just didn't. Yeah, I was like, well, I got a pastor. He knows, whatever. I don't want to, too much bother Apostle. But when I got to East Georgia, and I seen what was going on, the things that was going on, it just kind of like, is this my time? I don't know. So I called Apostle, and the first thing I said was, I'm scared. I ain't even say, hey, Apostle. Right. And he answered on the first ring, so I knew, it was something. So I was like, Apostle, I'm scared. So he told me, he was like, I'm going to say this prayer. And he said, I want you to, trust and believe everything was going to be all right. And he said a prayer for me. And I just held on to that prayer, to that word that he gave me. And then he gave me a scripture, Isaiah 53, verses 1 through 5. I had to say that every day. Wow. Every day. So he was like, he said, everything's going to be fine once you believe it. And I took it and I ran with it because I feel like after the words of, a man of God, hey, I know I'm gonna be all right.
Absolutely.
So yes, so I stayed in East Georgia for a week, and that's when death was always there,
right?
Which is crazy. I can say so much. I can go so much in depth in what happened.
Yeah.
But I know I can't say it all today.
Right.
But in East Georgia, it was really, really, really bad. The doctor finally came in. He came in twice that week, I think.
Right.
And my vitals, they was either shooting up or going all the way down.
Yeah.
And it was just, nothing was stable.
Yeah.
And so I was in and out. It's a lot of things I really don't really remember.
Yeah.
But that particular Sunday, they did the little, I think, a colonoscopy,
Mm-hmm.
and they said I had severe E. coli.
Yeah.
And so that kind of messed with my ulcerative colitis. So that's why a lot of things was really going really bad, because it kind of just affected that too as well. And so, but the E. coli was the major thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna get into anything further with that,
right.
but that Sunday they said I needed immediate surgery, and they flew me to Augusta, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I had my surgery.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of you all came and see me at East Georgia.
I remember that was because at that time they were saying, I never forget the call. They were like, they gotta fly Bree out. It was like, it was emergency surgery, and because y'all was still coming to Jessup. So like I was like, I'm like this. I think you were probably one of the first people I had to like ever pray for, like come to. And I remember Apostle, and I got the call. I'm like, you need to go. Like we need to get the Bree.
Right.
I don't know where Elder Johnson was at the time, whatever. But I remember had to go up there because the day I was coming, like the helicopter that was about to take you was on top of the building. And I told them, I said, they're not going nowhere until I pray.
Right.
So and I never forget that. And I came, prayed for you. And I just remember like it was like life or death type thing.
It really
and
was.
I think I was scared. All of us was like, but the beautiful thing is, Bree, is that you here with us today.
Yes.
It's just amazing to hear this story, because it literally like you was on your way out of here.
Yes, I really was. I really was.
Yeah.
Even though, and a lot of people ask me, how was you in that situation? Was you crying? I never cried. I want to cry right now.
Yeah, it's all right. Let it go, because that's what we doing.
I never cried. I didn't say anything. After Apostle gave me that, I ran with it, and I knew I was gonna be all right.
Yep.
I want to cry. I'm
Let
getting
it out.
emotional
Let
because
it out, please.
my mom,
Amen.
she's gone now, and this is the month she passed away. So
Wow.
and she was there. She was crying, and because I woke up after the procedure and she was crying, and I kind of I looked at her and I said, "Why are you crying?" And she was like, because they said you had to go into immediate surgery. But I knew it was more than that while she was in
Absolutely.
tears, because afterwards I found out they told her if I didn't get this, I was leaving. I was gone. So I told her, I looked at her and I said, everything gonna be all right. You ain't gotta cry. I said, everything gonna be all right. And I went back out, because I was, kind of on a lot of pain medicine, and they, I couldn't really, I was really under a lot of pain medication, so I was in and out. So I really don't remember when you came and prayed for me. So, but I know a lot of people that showed up. They told me who all showed up. The main people I remember, of course, my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, Shirley, and my husband, and my pastor, Pastor Johnston. I remember because they came throughout the week.
Right.
And so when it got to that Sunday, I was in and out, in and out. So what woke me up was my sister. She screamed. And I guess it was, letting the family know, hey, this is, if she don't get there in time, this is it. And so when they flew me there, I don't even remember getting to Augusta. I don't remember getting to Augusta.
Wow.
I don't remember going through the surgery.
Yeah.
The doctor that did it, he was just like, you don't remember talking to me? I'm like, no, sir, this is my first time meeting you. This is my first time meeting you.
Wow.
When I went for my first, little checkup and things like that. It's so much I can say, especially after I had my surgery. The recovery was a handful. It was a lot. Going through it was a lot because you're dealing with different doctors. You don't know. You're so confused. They looking at you like you just but I know they doing their job. They just trying to figure out things. But mentally, it can really, really, really play with you. Mentally, of course, physically I was going through, but I think more so mentally, it dealt. I was battling more mentally than physically. Only because I'm trying to figure out why I went through this.
Let me ask you a question, because one of the things that I love about you is how strong you are, especially as a young person. And I want to talk about that a little bit because you said you didn't cry, and that was, I remember that. I remember you being like in good spirits, even though you were going through these things. How did he help you with that? Like, what do you remember? Like, what was your mindset with that? Especially because,
I honestly, I feel like I felt God so strong. I earned for that again,
Absolutely.
I never felt God that way. I feel like he was just right there. Like, if I can just touch him, he will be right there. I feel like, I think his presence was just on me so heavy to the point that I knew I was going to be all right. His comfort was just comforting me. I think it was just a presence of really comfort. Like, I got you.
Absolutely.
You're not going anywhere. You're going to go through this. I put you through this, so you're going to go through this. And I'm going to bring you out for his glory.
Absolutely.
It's something that he had to do for others.
Absolutely.
It wasn't for just me or, I did, get things from that, but it was for someone else. So I feel like it was just the presence of God, the comfort of God that just really kept my mind. I couldn't even, if I wanted to cry, if I wanted to say, I want to give up, I don't, if it's just my time, take me, Lord.
Yeah.
I couldn't even say anything. It was just like, I'm going to be all right.
Would you say that is because of your relationship, of how you grew up with God, and relationship? Was it the man of God's word that you was like, I believe this,
Definitely the man of God's word.
Right.
I feel like, when he said what he said, I knew it. It just, I don't know. I think when I answered that phone call, and it just felt like, I felt like Apostle was waiting on me to call him.
Yeah.
Because he answered so quick, and I was just like, what is going on? I was like, Apostle, I'm scared. And when he said that, it was just the words.
Wow.
The power behind the words that he said.
Right.
I was just like, I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine.
Absolutely. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people, they deal with, I don't know if God is real. I don't know how can I really believe, or how can I really trust.
Right.
Especially with your story, you're a living witness to that, of really trusting the man of God's word, and it's not necessarily because it's a man of God, but it's because it's the God that's in him.
Right.
And that's what we believe. And we did an interview. The first interview we had was with Apostle, and I was talking to him about, why does he love God so much? Why, what is it about him that makes him love him so much? And, I want to ask you that question because, do you feel like your situation, did that make you love him even the more, or like how do you feel even now about that?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like my faith is up high. You know, going through that, I questioned myself, because when I went through it first, I was like, did I fall into sin? Did I do something wrong? You know, because I feel like, you know, Lord, I was obedient to His will.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know what I did, but when the man of God, I believe Pastor Gavin, when he, you know, told me, he was like, you didn't do anything wrong. He was like, you had to go through this, and that let me know. But going through it, oh my God, I feel like I said, Lord, each and every day, I still, when I wake up and knowing that I'm still here, that was 7 years ago. Knowing that I'm still here, I just be like, you were so amazing.
Yeah.
Like, my love for him is definitely have increased. Like, I just feel like he can make anything possible. You can be at the lowest of the lowest, and he can bring you back like this. Absolutely. You know, because people say you do not look like you went through anything like that, and I'm just like, but I did. Absolutely. And it only because of God that, you know, that I'm here. You know, I'm still here. I'm still going. You know.
How many kids you got?
I have 2 kids. I have 2 kids. Yes, I have. One is 2, and the other is 3.
So that's amazing, right? So like people talk about their stories and things like that. You know, one of the things the Bible says is that we overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So like, you know, we overcome the enemy. We overcome all those negatives. You know what I'm saying? By showing our testimony, and that's the reason why I wanted, the Lord gave me this podcast, is because people like you got to get our story out there. Got to get that. So, and I want to switch gears just a little bit, saying with the same thing, but like, because you have kids and you're married now. I want you to talk a little bit about your hubby, because I remember me and you sitting there having a conversation about him, and he was just your best friend. Right. So talk about that a little bit.
He was my best friend. He was. We went to school together. We went to middle school together, and we went to high school together. We didn't really become best friends until high school, 11th grade. Okay. I was always around him. We had our little friend group, so we was always around each other. But we had a class together in 11th grade and became partners with a project. And that just took off with our friendship. I got to know him and know that he's not that quiet. He's not that quiet. And we locked in, and I treated him like he was like a female friend. I was on the phone with him all the time. I tell him everything. Didn't know. I knew he liked me in middle school. But when we got high school, I thought, that was over. Right. I'm like, he don't like me no more. Until somebody told me. But when we graduated, we didn't talk for about a year. Now, in 12th grade, when I got in 12th grade, I got in Bibleway. We used to go back and forth in class about, the scriptures and things like that. And so one day he eventually came and visited the church. But we didn't talk for a whole year, and I think that's what started our conversations again. He asked about the church. Gotcha. And he was like, hey, is it okay if I come and visit? I was like, yeah, you ain't got to ask me, just come. Yeah. And so he came, and then that brought us even more closer. And a lot of you all was saying, you should give it a try. You should talk to him. I think he'd be perfect for you. I'm like, no, I think we should just remain best friends. Like, that's it. But no, as we went further into still just talking all the time. And one thing about us, we not too much of the in public Right. So a lot of people didn't know we was talking. Right. So one day we just found out we engaged. Everybody's like, what? Y'all engaged? We would walk past each other in church. Yeah. I was not always in his face in church. You know what I'm saying? We didn't. I think because of the relationship we had prior to us being in church together, in school and stuff like that. So I felt like we knew each other real well. So. We got married in 2019, and now we got 2 beautiful kids.
That's amazing.
Yes, so yeah,
I love it. I love your relationship because I remember when I used to go visit you in the hospital, and he was there. And I remember one time, me kind of being like, bro, not like pastor, or I was just a minister then, but. I took that like, man, like this is my look, this is my sister, And I remember he was sitting in the hospital room, and I'm like, man, what's like, why are you here? like what he doing? Like just watching, you know what I mean? And he was at the bed. He was just watching you, and I'm like, man, like this dude really love her. Like he really like.
No, it was what made me know that. Yes, I need to consider one day marrying this man in Savannah when I was in Memorial. He had to feed me. Wow. I didn't want him to. I was trying to act like I was so strong. I was like, he was like, you got it? I was like, yeah, I got it, I got it. Man, I was struggling trying to put the spoon in my mouth because I was so weak.
Right.
He was just like, he just got up and he just helped me. Wow. And I was just like, to me, it felt so weird because I'm like, I don't want nobody helping me, Right. But at that moment, it's just like, he don't have to do this.
Right.
First of all, he didn't even have to be here.
Exactly.
And the thing is, he don't like hospitals. He does not like to be nowhere near hospitals. And for him to be there all the time for me, I knew, I was like, you know what, I need to stop being, stubborn and just, really just, because I liked them. I just was like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to be all stubborn and stuff, and I was like, well, just, this might mess up my relationship with God.
Right.
And I asked God I was like, well, because I used to always, pray to God about marriage. And I used to be like, if it's not in your will, then I don't want it.
Right.
But he gave me, I think, 2 or 3 dreams of me marrying him. So that's why I knew it was confirmation. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What advice would you give young ladies, anybody, especially in the church realm, or somebody looking, you have a young lady that's dealing with some health issues and stuff like that. And then you got this guy who's like a friend, and then it becomes more than that. But so what type of advice, I would love to get some, wisdom from you as far as that to some other ladies.
I say definitely start as friends. Definitely build a friendship before you dive deeper into courtship or whatever, because you do want to know who you're dealing with besides the person, because when you're dating somebody, you kind of put on a little persona because you want to impress them.
Absolutely.
So if you just be friends, start as friends, don't even, if it's kind of like you trying to really get to know someone by just simple conversations. Don't even say, hey, I like you, or I'm interested in you. None of that at first.
Right.
I feel like you should just be cordial. Just start conversations and things like that. Even though you're interested, just wait things out, befriend them, and then if they on the same page as you eventually, then y'all can talk about courtship, but what you're dealing with as a person.
Absolutely.
So once you do the courtship and things like that, take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time. It's nothing you want to rush into, because you don't want to make a mistake. I feel like our generations, we jump into things so fast, and then we feel like we made the biggest mistake of our life, because the Bible says you only get one.
That's it.
So you want to make the right decision.
Absolutely.
So I say, hey, just if you interested, my main thing, and a lot of ladies know, I always tell them, be friends with that person first. Please be friends with that person first. Take your time, don't rush. And then when you eventually, y'all talk about marriage and things like that, have your list.
Yeah, that's real.
No, have your list. Have your list. And you have things that you desire, that you want, that you need. And when you get married, all of that is not, some things change, so you have to, tweak things a little bit. Right. As long as y'all compromise, as long as y'all both on the same page.
Right.
But have your list, definitely. And I always say, get someone, or, be with someone that's not going to change anything about you when it comes down to your relationship with God or ministry.
That's good.
You want someone that's on the same page as you with ministry, as you want that. Because when they work in the ministry and you work in the ministry, you know, you ain't got nobody saying, hey, I want you home with me, you know, or, you know, vice versa. You don't want that. You want somebody that love God just as much, because if anything happen, hey, bro, I love God more than I love you. Or, hey, sis, you know, so, you know, you want somebody that really love God more than they love you.
Absolutely.
You know, you want that. So, yeah.
That's heavy. That's heavy. And I love that. I love that about your story, because when you take somebody like, you know, your husband, man, who's a great person, man, and, you know, real cool, chill, but, like, you know, I love that because he shows not only his love for you, but he shows love for God. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a big person, and I want to see how much you love me based off of how much you love God. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to see if I mess up, if you're going to still stay with him. You get what I'm saying? Yes. Or you going to still stay with God. I want you to love God more than me. Right. I want you to do that, because my love shouldn't, you know, because you in your feelings about me, that shouldn't get in your way with a relationship with God. Yes. It really shouldn't. And I glad you said that. Glad you said that. I'm going to switch gears a little bit, but I want to talk about something, and, you know, we don't have to go into too much detail if you don't want, but I want to talk about, you know, just that the women in your life, you know, your mother, she, you know, everybody loves your mom. Everybody loves your mom. And I want to just talk about that, and that maybe that relationship that y'all had. You know, what is it now that you may have, maybe you may look at now and be like, man, my mom was, you know, she had some good wisdom, or what were some things she taught you?
She definitely, I go back and kind of read some of the old, I think, birthday posts she put on Facebook and stuff like that when it pops up. She always told me to remain humble and sweet, because she said I was a sweet girl. Gotcha. And so my mom, she was, I honestly think I'm a lot like my mother. She was tough, but she loved hard. Right. But at the same time, she had a good heart. She was soft at the same time. Gotcha. And I feel like that's how I am. You know, she was very kind of to herself, right. But she was friendly at the same time. Yeah. Like, anybody that knows my mother knows she was jokey, she was goofy, very friendly. But she had that moment where she just be chilling. Absolutely. And that's me. Like, that's me. You know, people be like, you know, Bree, you real laid back, and I'm like I am, but I have a side that, you know, if you get to know me, I'm real goofy. But besides that, I like the when she committed herself to God, which I was very shocked, because my mom, she got a story that I wish she would have came out more and told. Like, she has a story, so I definitely remember my mama out there in the world. Yeah. She was one of those women that hung around old heads. Okay. And we was always, me and my sister, we was always sent out to my auntie house, her sister, and but we was around sometimes. But she was the one that all the old heads, I mean, the ones I'm talking about, sit down in the tree, right. Drink, you know, beers and smoke their little Black and Milds. My mama, she smoked her Black and Milds day and night, all day, drank her beer all day. I don't know how she did it, but they loved her. Anybody that come connected to her loved her. They used to always make her sing. She's a singer. They always made her sing. I mean, everywhere she went, Betty Jo, sang us a song. They'd be drunks, and they just want to hear my mom's voice. Yeah. And so, when she came into church, when I think she went through a sickness. She went through a sickness. Okay. And the first time that I experienced her experiencing, you know, near death experience, when I was in middle school, I believe, and it scared me so bad. I was always with her through her times of sickness. And I used to touch her and make sure she was okay. And I used to be like, Mom, you okay? You okay? She went to the hospital memorial, and they told her, well, they didn't tell us at the time, but they told us later. They was like, you know, they gave up on her. And that was years ago. So she after that, she finally accepted, to want to be in church. And that was when we was a part of another organization. And she didn't like no skirts, no dresses. She was like one of those, the 80s, how they dress with the baggy shirts and all that. Yeah. So she was one of those. And so for her to get in a dress, I was so surprised. Yeah. She was wearing pantsuits at first when she first got in church. So when they say, we don't do that, kind of try to let's do, skirts or whatever. And then she went into that. But when we trans over to Bibleway, I think because I feel like she really wanted to change. She didn't want that lifestyle anymore, because I'm thinking like, hey, you lived that for a while. I'm thinking she gonna go back. Right. But she never went back. Yeah. And that's what I feel like I get from her. Mm-hmm. Like once she lock into something, she there. Yeah. She ain't going nowhere. Yeah. She staying flat footed. When she said she was gonna live for God, she was gonna live for God. Wow. She did not go back. She did not look back. Even if she have struggles, she didn't show it. Right. And that's something I definitely took from her. Yeah. You wouldn't know she going through something. Wow. It's crazy. Like even when she passed away, I was there the day before and I didn't know she was dying. Wow. Because even though she was sick real bad, but the way she was and the way she handled it, I thought she was gonna, bounce back from it, because she always, that's what she always do. So I'm like, she got it. She gonna bounce back. But when I got that phone call, I was so shocked. My grandmother, I was the first person she can get in touch with, because she the one that found her dead that morning. Right. And I was supposed to actually go there early that morning. Right. But I said no. I was already up, but I was like, nah, I'm not going. I'm gonna just let my grandmother handle it. Good thing that I didn't go. Right. Because I really don't know how I would have handled it. Yeah. So I was the first person that she called, and I was just so shocked, because I was just like, Lord. And the night before, I feel like the Lord put in my spirit, because I was just sitting there, and the Lord said, what would you do without your mother? Ooh. And I was just like, why is this thought coming in my head? She ain't going nowhere. But I was just like, because I always said that if her or either both of them leave and I'm here in Bibleway, I'm not going nowhere. Yeah. Because, I love them, but I love, it's not just Bibleway, but it's the truth. Yeah. From what I went from and know, it's nothing compared to what is being taught. Absolutely. This is the true word. Amen. So to see her, to see that, that she passed away, it was really shocking. But I was just like, you know what? She said she learned from me when I went through my sickness. Wow. How strong I was. Wow. She was there. So she was like, breathing, cry. She didn't. I remember a testimony that she had did when I was going through my recovery. And she was like, to see me go through that, she was like, well, why should I be weary or crying or anything like that? But she don't know that I got that from her. Wow. Because I seen her in every, all those years that she battled. I was there literally every time I was there. And she just was strong. She was strong. Like, she was very strong. So, I definitely get a lot from her, yes.
I love that, because your mom was amazing. When I got to Jessup, because I had no ride to get there, and she's the one that took me. She's the one that was there. If I needed somebody to sing, I love to hear your mom sing. I miss her at times. I'm like, I just need Betty Jo to sing before I get up and minister. But no, she had a heart. I remember she told me a little bit of her story before, and I wish she was alive, because she was definitely somebody I would want to interview, because she was the definition of a woman that is going to be faithful to the bones dry. Yes. She going to be faithful. And she loved the church. She loved her family. She loved getting together. And like you said, she was solid enough to be like, I'm not going back over there. I'm not doing those things, and it was just amazing just to. And what I loved about her was that she loved to serve. Yes. Because your grandmother, she's still alive. You get what I'm saying? And she took your grandma everywhere. Yes. In Jackson, and it didn't matter where Apostle sent them ladies to go. She was taking them.
She was taking
and
them.
she was right there. And like, I'm like, man, like, you grown, right? You have your own life, but she was willing to do whatever was needed for the church.
Yeah.
And, that's why I think that us telling our testimonies and telling what we did and how we got in and, what made us stay, like you said, the Lord asked you that question. Man, that's a heavy, that's a heavy question to ask, and then you respond in that way. You get what I'm saying? So, I asked you two things, and we're gonna wrap up soon. But I want to ask you two things when it comes to that. All the things, even things with your mom, your husband now, you got kids. What is your why? What keeps you? What is your why? You and your mother now, all those things. What is your why?
I think it's just because I love God. Honestly, I do. I feel like going through things and seeing that He's still keeping me mentally, because that's a mental battle. That's a mental fight. Going through my sickness, I still battle with that, because it's things that now that I have to deal with that I'll just kind of just be like, sometimes I don't wish I never, but then when I think about it, Lord, it's for your glory. And, if I say that, your will and not mine, I have to be a, vessel. I have to be a vessel. And going through, experiencing my moment of death and things like that, how He's just keeping me, I think it's just the love of God. Just seeing, everything that He's doing in my life is just, I don't know, it's just, He amazes me. Like, I just be like, Lord, I know I can't do this without you. The relationship that I have with Him is just unexplainable. Even when I want to just sometimes give up, I can't give up. It just, I start thinking about everything that He, just keeping me from, or things that I went through that He brought me out of, it's just, it's the love that I have for Jesus. Yes.
Absolutely. So what, when it comes to that, what is, when it comes to your mom and it comes to the love that you have, what advice can you give to people who have had that similar experience? Because some people, especially in the world, they'll say, well, God, why did you do this?
Right.
Why did you bring that? Did you ever have that thought? Did you ever have that feeling? And what kind of made you snap back in?
I definitely had whys, because I was so confused, but I never questioned it. My heart was so heavy after everything happened. I'm just like, I'm confused. I feel like God was just, He understood my feelings. He was just like, I stopped praying, because I didn't know what to pray for. I was just like, I stopped praying. I would just come to church, and I think that's what kept me. Just coming to church.
Wow.
I had to still come to church, because if I stopped coming to church, mentally I would have been gone.
That's real.
I would have been gone. I would have been so in a bad state to where anything could have happened with my marriage, or anything. I could have been angry. But just I had to be in the presence of God, because I knew the only thing I said was, Lord, I know I have my husband, I know I have family, I know I have my pastor and church family, but the only person that can really, pull me out of this is you. Wow. I was like, I was like, I can hear everybody, everybody's saying, they're there for me, things like that, and I appreciate that. But especially if you really haven't been through, someone's close to you, experiencing death, that someone's very close to you, you wouldn't really understand how much of a fight that is. Right. And so, coming, you definitely have to keep coming. You have to be consistent with that. You have to keep coming. And I just was silent for a while. When I think about it, I was like, I did not pray. When I started back praying, I didn't even know what to pray for them, because I was just like, Lord, what am I supposed to say to you? I'm sorry. I was not talking to you. And it took the man of God, Pastor Tillman, he told me, he told me that God know that, he know I have whys and why this happened. And he was just like, he know that, my feelings and things like that. He know that I'm hurt. He was like, Only thing he's gonna do is just wait on you now.
Wow.
He just waiting on you to come back.
Wow.
He just, you know, he's like, you know, like a father.
Wow.
Like, whenever you ready, I'm here. I know you hurt, but I'm here. So it took me a while because I wasn't mad at God at all.
Right.
Because I understand that's why I thank God for Bibleway. When you get taught, you know, saint dying, you know, they not, you know,
Yeah.
they're not going over, they sleeping. You know what I'm saying? They sleeping until the coming, you know. So it's like, you know, me understanding death, me understanding, you know, the word and things like that, and knowing that, you know, she made it in before I made it in.
Right.
So I was, you know, I'm excited because I'm like, man, my mom, she really, you know, she in there.
Absolutely.
You know, so, but at the same time, it's missing her presence.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, because anybody know, if you see me, you see my mama. The only distance that we had is when she went to Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
And I got married. If I wasn't married, I probably would have been in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I mean, not Jacksonville, Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And so I was just, you know, when she came down and things like that, I was just, you know, I was just like, Lord, I'm thinking I'm going to have some time with my mama, you know, and then this happened. But it's just, you know, he kept me, and I'm glad I was consistent with that. So I say be consistent. Don't give up. Even when you get to the point where you feel like, you know, I can't handle this, just give it to God. Give it to God, give it to him. I'm just saying that it's not that easy, because, you know, sometimes you can get into a place where you just feel like you I don't know, like you just, it's so unexplainable.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's like, don't allow that, because you can get in a depressed state. Don't allow it to put you in a dark place.
Wow.
Push past it. Think of memories, funny things. I know me and my sister, and my family, we always say, you know, if my mom was here right now, if Betty Jo was here right now, this is what she'll say.
Right.
You know, just when you get into that place of, you know, grief is different. I'm still learning grief. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm at with grief, because I know a lot of people be like, you just handle it so well. But I am, because I thought I was going to handle worse than what I'm doing. But I have my moments, and I was telling my husband yesterday, I said yesterday was the first time I ever felt like I wanted to cry.
Wow.
Because during the time I was just so shocked at everything. I was just, you know, like, my emotions was just, I couldn't let her cry. Right. I cried, but not like that. You know, I was just so, I guess, denial. And the denial, I was just like, you know, wait, she's really gone. You know, this can't be. But I said, keep pushing, keep going, don't give up. Even when you don't feel like you have nothing to give, right. Just keep going, keep going, keep pushing yourself to go. Because if you don't, you're gonna be in a bad space. So yeah.
Ray, I'm so glad we had this conversation, this time with you. One of the things I'm taking away from this, and you kind of already did the last segment, was I wanted you to give final words of whatever you know. I'm gonna still give you that time. But you kind of already went into it, but I love that, because when it comes to God, people have to be all in or nothing. It got to be all in, and it can't just be something like a mystical being. Like, it can't, like, this is God we talking about. Right. And you explained it so well. If it wasn't for him, your mom literally probably would be gone. Right. You know, all the things that you went through and stuff like that. So really you said something about being consistent, and that's what I wish people can really understand. If you can get into this chair, right, and just sit here, right, even if you're dealing with some stuff, if you're in the presence of God for real, it's going to eventually crack. Yes. You're going to eventually crack. Yes. It's going to be a note, it's going to be a song, it's going to be a word, right. Something's going to happen. You just got to get to the house. Got to get there. So I'm going to give you the last final thought. All the stuff we talked about and things, you can get whatever you want to say, whatever you want to, you know, just some final words. It can be anything.
Yeah, I want to go back to the last time I went through my recovery stage. I went through so much in Augusta when I went there after the surgery. I was in ICU. In every hospital I was in ICU. And I just want to say that death was definitely there. Every hospital I was in, the rooms beside me, somebody died.
Wow.
And so that right there, that alone just really amazed me when it comes down to God really protecting you and covering you. They had to try so much. I had so many tubes put in me. So to look back at those marks, and I feel like I thank God that they're there because it reminds me of, you know, what God brought me out of. And so I can't, one day I hope to write a book on it, you know, because I can go really in depth. I was trying to write down a lot of things, trying to make it to a short story, but it was just so much. And it wasn't even all that I could, you know, really, you know, say about what I went through. So going through that, and then years later to experience my mom's death, Pastor Gavin told me, I don't know if you remember, but he told me that I passed that test, but it was something else that I had to go through. And he was like, you know, if you pass that, God got you forever.
Wow.
Like you
wow.
You know, you got it.
Wow.
You ain't gonna go nowhere.
Wow.
And I think it was my mom's death. And for me to go through that and still be here, I was just, you know, when I think about it, I just be like, I just love God. I just know, like, I just love God. Like, I'm not playing, you know, I'm not playing this lifestyle. I'm not, you know, I really truly want to live this for real.
Sure.
You know, so going through that, and then just all I say is, you know, if you truly have a heart to really, you know, want to live for God and want to be saved and things like that, you'll do it for real. Just like when you on a job and you really want that career, or you know, this is what you want to be in life, things like that, and you keep going, you consistent, and you push for it just to be that doctor or lawyer, things like that. If you really want to be saved for real and really truly want to live this lifestyle, your mindset and your heart will connect on that, and you'll live it. You'll live it. It can be tough at times because of course we flesh, so we battle and things like that. But when you go through things and you truly have God's spirit in you, and it replays those things back to let you know, hey, so you really gonna give up on God after all He done? And it's just like, you know, if you really truly love God, you're like, Lord, I can't give up on you. Because if I go out there, then what? Because that's what I think. Because the moments when I just feel like sometimes I want to give up, I just like, if I go back out there, I don't know if I'm going to live. Because everybody's grace is different. Your grace, he might let you last. But me, he might not let me last. So I was just like, no, I can't do that. I can't give up on you. You literally brought me back from death. Literally. And it's just like you literally keeping me even through you know, just everything. Even when sometimes I just feel like, you know, I want to say, why me? Why do I have to go through so much? But then I was like, you know what? When you pray a prayer and you tell God, you know, I'll do anything, you know, Lord, just use me. You know, your will, not mine, and things like that. When you pray those prayers, you have to be careful because you step into something that you're going to have to, you know, just really press through, you know, go through things and really just keep yourself focused to be able to last, to be able to endure. So you really have to, you know, have a heart. If you don't have a heart for God, if you're not in this for real, if you go through something, you're going to be in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I could have did that. I could have just stopped coming to church. Right. I could have did that, but that's not in me because I really love it. I'm not here because my grandmother's here. I'm not here because my mother was here. I'm not here for that. You know, I'm here because I know this is true. I love God, and this is the life I want to live.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, just keep going, be consistent with God, and He'll be consistent with you. You the one that got to be, consistent, because He's gonna always be consistent.
Absolutely.
He's not gonna never fail. He's gonna always be consistent with you, but you have to be the one that be consistent with Him. And it takes the right mind and the right heart, to live this life. So yeah.
Well, that's amazing. That you said a mouthful. I feel that it was needed.
Yes.
And I just appreciate you, Bree. You always gonna be my sister. Here for you whenever you need it. Like, continue to raise those beautiful girls. Continue to love your husband.
Yes.
Y'all are amazing, and y'all gonna be a power couple. We gonna be coming and knocking on both of y'all doorstep for some other things that we want to do, some other projects we got coming. And things like that. So I appreciate you. We thank God for you, and we will see y'all next episode.
All right.